past weekend, I decided to run a mobile gaming experiment. I downloaded the game Disney Solitaire on my phone just from Thursday to Sunday, and I wanted to see how it would affect me and to think about it through the lens of a child's eyes because I'm a parent now. And I was really uncomfortable with what I found. It only took 48 hours for that app to completely hook me, and I'm a digital wellness coach. I had all the safeguards in place, and I knew the tactics they were going to use on me, and yet I was still hooked. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about the gambling tactics that mobile games use, and I want to have a discussion with you about why this is concerning for children and what we can do about it. And if you don't have kids, you might be interested in reading the companion article instead. It's simply about my experience using the app as an adult who already knows a lot about this stuff. So without further ado, let's jump in. Hello, my name is Jessica if you're new, and welcome. I've been a life coach for 5 years, a digital minimalist for 6. I'm really passionate about helping people get out of digital distraction so they can spend their time and energy on the things that really matter to them. Because being on our apps kind of feels good in the moment, but we know deep down that it's not making us feel fulfilled. So that's what I'm here to help you do. Let's jump right in with the different gambling tactics that mobile games use. And I want you to be thinking about social media as we talk about this, because social media does a lot of the same things that mobile games do. It's just in a slightly different package. The first thing these apps do is they create a very visually stimulating and immersive environment. Just like slot machines, you'll see lots of bright colors and flashing and spinning and twirling. You'll also hear bright sounds and lots of little trills and things that keep you engaged. In this particular case with the Disney characters, you get to see your favorite Disney characters playing out scenes that you love by completing levels. You hear music from the films, and you have lots of little noises that pique your attention. There's also very highly saturated colors that in nature will get our attention, like to avoid different brightly colored frogs and poisonous snakes. So in nature, we know to pay attention to bright colors because they can be dangerous or useful. And our brain doesn't know how to distinguish between these brightly colored phones and something in nature that needs to grab our attention. Even my cat completely loved watching me play this game over the weekend. She loved watching me click the cards and see them zoom over the screen. And then when the level was complete, all the cards go whirling off and coins go everywhere. So it's very engaging. And I want you to keep in mind that I knew all of this going into it. So I had my phone on grayscale, which is black and white, so there weren't saturated colors. I also muted the volume, but yet all of the way that things flashed and moved across the screen was still really stimulating to my brain and felt rewarding. The second gambling element is pay to play. In order to play the next level, you have to pay a certain amount of coins, which are free currency in the game, to play that level. And then if you complete the level, you get more coins than you paid. So you get a bigger payout if you complete the level, that is. However, at some point you can run out of coins and either have to wait an hour for the hourly boost to play, or you would have to pay real money to get more coins, which is exactly what they want you to do. That brings me to point number 2, which is that the rewards are random. The levels aren't consecutive with how challenging they are. It's more of a roller coaster where you never know what to expect. And we know from psychology that rewards that are unexpected are more thrilling for our brain, so we keep coming back for more. And because of this manufactured roller coaster, it makes it so some days you can play for hours and feel completely flush with coins, while other days you have to wait for that hourly bonus in order to play just one level because the levels are so hard that you can't continue on without more money, which makes you pay the real dollars to keep playing because, as we know, children don't have as much patience as we as adults have. And even I found myself opening the app every 15 minutes, and it felt so exhausting and so long to wait. I'm already someone who knows these things, and yet it still got me every time. I think I'm off on my counting, but the next point is that they introduce streaks and loss aversion. So there's different mini challenges that these games use to keep you playing, where if you quit a level before you've completed it, you lose your streak. There's even daily streaks that give you rewards for signing in every single day. And like I said, in this particular game, you got a boost every single hour. So you could come back every hour and keep playing, even if you were low on coins. It makes it feel like you have more to lose than you actually do, because even though it's all fake coins, it feels like it's a big loss when you know that there's some reward waiting for you and that you're not going to get the zooming coins and splays of confetti. And Tinkerbell's going to give you a nasty look, which would be very disconcerting if I was a child. I would really not like it if I thought Tinkerbell didn't like me for quitting a level. This leads me to my next point, which is that they create artificial accomplishment. All of these different mini goals that I've already talked about, of having these streaks, get you different prizes and things within the game. You also get to complete scenes in this particular Disney app where you get to watch one of your favorite scenes unfold from the movie, like the Frozen scene where Elsa sings Let It Go and creates her ice castle. And it feels like there's a certain amount of skill involved, but really with games like this, there's no skill at all. Solitaire is basically just counting with cards, which kids from age 2 to 4 can start doing. So anyone, even toddlers, can play this game, and you get the sense that you completed something, that you have some sort of skill. I remember with some of the harder levels where I had to pay power-ups to move on, I just felt this sense of achievement, even though the things that I got were ultimately meaningless. No one cares that I recreated the tale as old as time scene from Beauty and the Beast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't actually add value to my life, but because it's so immersive and exciting within the game, and it gets that primal part of your brain going and activated, it feels like a bigger deal than it actually is. And the last thing I'll say is that there's always one more level. It's just like social media where you can scroll endlessly. You could probably go through an infinite number of levels. Now I want to shift gears into why this concerns me as a parent. Children do not have fully formed prefrontal cortexes. That's the part in the front of your head that's responsible for decision making, problem solving, and critical thinking until they're age 25. So children, through the whole time that they're living with us, are not going to have the full capability of their prefrontal cortex. For example, I was able to do the math and see that it was better value to quit levels and deal with Tinkerbell's angry face at me than to use the power-ups because it ended up losing more coins. And even that's a bit ridiculous because yes, I'm a superior adult who knows to quit the level, but still I was playing the game. Even as an adult, this game had a big impact on me. I've played mobile games before. I knew what was going to happen, and yet I was still caught up in it, and I wasn't able to delete the app on Sunday night. It took until Tuesday morning until I actually deleted the app. It really had a pull on me, even though I went into it as an experiment and I knew I was going to delete it at the end, but yet I was still extremely invested. Kids don't have that type of framing. They don't set up these games knowing that they're going to quit. They're not doing it just for the weekend. They think that this is part of their identity and their life. They feel like they're making momentum towards something. And the game is so exciting that it feels less boring than real life. As an example, this weekend was my mom's birthday, and so we went out to celebrate. And I just felt like everything was a little bit more dull and boring and slow paced because I'd been playing this app all weekend long. That's exactly the opposite of the way I want to feel when I'm with the people I care about most. I don't want to be thinking about my phone burning a hole in my pocket and this game whispering that I should be playing, that I should be getting that hourly reward going so I can start the next hourly timer to get my next reward. That's just silly. And our kids are feeling this too. Even when we set screen limits with them, of course, they're going to be thinking about the game and waiting and drooling and foaming at the mouth until they get access to that game again. It's also teaching them things that I personally don't think are worth teaching them, like learning the mechanics of how gambling works and seeing that it can be really fun. Like you have to pay for this level and then you get a reward. It gives them the idea that gambling is more fruitful than it actually is. And it's reinforcing them with the things that we talked about, the random rewards and the very immersive, brightly colored, and brightly sounding environment. If everything I'm saying has you worried, I want you to know that there is hope. And there's actually some research out saying that the number one predictor of a child's habits with technology as an adult is actually their parents' habits. So if you can pay attention to how you use technology, this can really teach your kids how to have healthy relationships with technology as well. The conclusion I came to after this weekend experiment is one that I've come to in the past, but I'm even more sold on now that I'm a mom, and that is that there's not really a great way to moderate mobile gaming. Even with grayscale and turning the volume off, which are two really great tools, it was still addictive and pulled my attention away from people and things that mattered to me. I also found that screen limits wouldn't help me that much because I would spend all of the time I wasn't on the app thinking about the app, which is really unhealthy. They've actually found that kids on screens, while they seem docile and relaxed, are actually not learning how to regulate. They're just learning how to distract themselves. So they can't cope well with their own emotions without a screen. And that can make tantrums worse. It can make outbursts bigger and longer lasting. And it means that they don't know how to entertain themselves away from the screen. Even as an adult, I felt like this was true. I didn't feel like I was able to read a book like I normally like to in the evening without feeling like every other page I wanted to check the app. That's just something to consider and think about for yourself. I definitely think we can learn a lot by trying these apps for ourselves and seeing how they affect us, and then thinking about that through the lens of a child who doesn't have all of the same abilities to problem solve that we have as an adult. So, at the very least, I would suggest that you try the games that your kids are playing, and at worst, maybe consider cutting them out altogether. But that is up to you and your family, and this is just my take on it. I hope today's conversation was helpful for you. If you want to hear more about my personal experience playing Disney Solitaire, I have an article coming out this Thursday all about that. And as always, there's going to be weekly videos coming your way, so if you want to subscribe to see those, I would love to have you here. All right, take care. Bye.